With the release of the new Judge Dredd film, I figured that this would be a perfect time to review a game based on the character. But since there's a good number of them, I wasn't sure which one to review. Finally, I settled on the Amiga version since that one hasn't gotten a lot of coverage. And honestly, I don't think the game is that bad, but considering how iconic Judge Dredd is, I think they could have made a much better game with his character. So anyway, let's get into it. Judge Dredd for the Amiga. As far as the graphics go, I think they look pretty good for the most part. In particular, I think this opening looks really cool. I'll let it play for a little bit and show you what I mean. I especially like how the scene ends on Judge Dredd's badge. It's a nice touch. There's also some nice comic book cutscenes that occasionally appear in the game. They're a little bit pixelated, but I still think they do a good job representing the comics. Also, I like the design of Judge Dredd in the actual game. To me, it looks pretty damn close to the comic book version of Dredd. And the design of the enemies ain't too shabby either. There's the fatties and some red-shirted enemy. I'm not sure who they're supposed to represent. Overall, I think the characters look well designed. My only criticism of the graphics is with the backgrounds. They just look too dull for my tastes. They're very flat and repetitive, and they don't have any of the vibrance of the Super Nintendo version. And since the graphics are very similar in all the areas, it's really easy to get lost in this first level. Furthermore, Mega City 1 is supposed to be this huge, sprawling metropolis stretching out across the eastern coast of America. Yet in this first level, they limit it to some dull area that could be set in almost any other game. I wish they could have added more of the city in the background. Maybe add some more skyscrapers and other buildings in the background, give it more of a sense of depth and scope. Aside from that little complaint though, I think the graphics are perfectly fine. As for the game's controls, they're very simple. The left and right buttons on the keyboard allow you to move Judge Dredd in those directions. Up allows you to jump, and down allows you to duck. Control allows you to fire his lawgiver, and you can select what type of ammunition you want to use by pressing the left shift button. Dredd has 3 different types of ammo: regular, a laser, and a homing missile. In addition, you can call Judge Dredd's Lawmaster by pressing the spacebar. When you want it to go away, you just press the spacebar again. The biggest problem I found with the controls is trying to move up and down these ramps. For example, if you want to go up, you have to press up and right, but up is also jump. So instead of getting on the ramp, you'll jump over it. And if you press left or right too much, you'll walk right past the damn thing. Why not just have platforms that you can jump on or stairs like in Castlevania? And the same shit applies when you're trying to go down. Even when you get on the Lawmaster, it's still difficult to get up and down ramps. If they had to put the fucking ramps in there, then why not make jump another button? But no, they couldn't do that. Aside from that problem though, the controls are decent. What's not so decent, however, is the gameplay. Before you can even start the game, you have to type in a password. Why they put this in, I don't know. Alright, the password is Dredd, and they tell you that in the instructions. But still, what if you'd lost them? How the fuck are you supposed to start the damn game? So anyway, when you finally get the right password in there, you can start the first level. Your mission is to go into the Dantana block and stop the fatties by destroying 4 food dispensers. But I'm surprised all of those fat fucks haven't died of heart attacks by now. So all in all, it sounds pretty easy, right? Well, it would be, except for one thing. This first level is huge! And the space between these food dispensers is enormous! I'm not kidding, they're like miles apart! And you have to go to every single one of them to win. Okay, still that doesn't sound too bad, but get this. On the right-hand side of the screen, there's this bar with the letters CR. This stands for the crime rate in the area. As you go along, this yellow bar will start to get bigger and bigger, meaning that there's more crime in the area. You have to keep it down by killing fatties and red shirts and by destroying the food dispensers. But you can't shoot the black-shirted people because they're like civilians. If you do that, then the crime rate will automatically jump up. Occasionally, you can also arrest fatties by pointing your gun at them. If they put their hands up, all you have to do is walk over them and the crime rate will drop a little bit. Unfortunately, no matter what the fuck you do, the crime rate will keep going up anyway. And the only way to keep it down is by continually killing and arresting the bad guys. If the yellow bar gets high enough, it'll start flashing red. That means that the crime rate is in danger of going out of control. Once it does this, you automatically lose the game. It says that Judge Dredd resigns. Yeah, like he'd resign. Bullshit. But that's the game for you. So you have to kill all the bad guys and destroy all the food dispensers and stop the crime rate from going out of control. You see how this is a little bit more complicated than when I first started explaining it? And to make things even more complicated, there's the energy meter. During the game, Judge Dredd can't die. But if he loses too much energy, he'll end up in the hospital, and when he gets back, the crime rate will have risen. Oh lord, couldn't they have made it a simple 3 lives and you're dead? Of course not! Now earlier I did mention the Lawmaster, and you can use it to get to the food dispensers faster. There's just 2 problems. Problem 1, even using it, it still goes slow as fuck. Look at this fucking thing, it's going about 4 miles an hour! Didn't it move a hell of a lot faster in the comics? Problem 2, if you get on it, the crime rate automatically jumps up. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's right, you can't use your lawgiver while you're on it, and you can't run the bad guys over. So what fucking good is it? To destroy a food dispenser, all you have to do is just walk past it and it'll automatically blow up. But you can't do that while you're on the Lawmaster, oh no. You have to get off the bike to destroy a dispenser. That is fucking bullshit. And don't even think about taking the bike to the next dispenser because the fucking crime rate will skyrocket. And chances are you'll lose the game before you get there. Not to mention that while you're on the bike, you're totally vulnerable to fatty attacks. So if you don't want to lose the game, you're gonna walk. And walk. And walk! They should have retitled this fucking game The Walking Man, because that's all you fucking do. I have to speed up a lot of this footage, because if I don't, we'll be here for about an hour. And the fatties just keep on coming, and coming, and coming. Christ almighty, I haven't seen this many fucking fat people outside of a Walmart or a Golden Corral. And I'm not doctoring this footage or anything. This literally happens throughout the fucking level. As you can well imagine, it gets very boring very fast after you killed about 1,000 fatties and had to walk about 10 miles to get to the next dispenser. Another big problem is with the lasers. When you get enough badges, you can upgrade your lawgiver to the lasers, which is good because you can now take out bad guys with one shot. But the problem is that laser shots will go through one guy and then hit another behind him. So if you have a civilian close to a bad guy, they'll both get killed and the crime rate will get bumped up. So getting the laser is almost as much a liability as it is an asset. In many cases, it's better to just keep your regular ammo, because at least that way you won't shoot through the bad guys and hit innocent civilians. One other big issue with the game is that you only get 1 life and no continues. Which might not be too bad, except it takes for fucking ever to get all the goddamn food dispensers. And losing the game means you have to start all the way back at the first one. There's also some really silly shit in this game. For example, if you walk off certain ledges, you'll be fine. But if you jump and fall off that same ledge, suddenly Dredd will become seriously injured and end up in the hospital. And if you look carefully at this footage, you'll see that Dredd lands perfectly at the bottom of the screen, then suddenly disappears off it. Yeah, because that's fucking fair. Normally the lack of music in a game wouldn't bother me, but in this case it just feels really odd walking through the levels and shooting people without any soundtrack. But as I'm often fond of saying, better no music than bad music. On 3 separate occasions, the game crashed on me right after the first level, so obviously I'm not going to be able to review the rest of it right now. But judging from the first level, I don't think the game's going to get much better after this. So in conclusion, Judge Dredd feels like a missed opportunity. It might have been a good game, but walking around an endless level, destroying food dispensers, and blowing away an infinite legion of lard asses is not my idea of a good time. I just hope that the new film with Carl Urban is better than this snooze fest. This is Film and Stuff signing off. Thanks for watching. Christ almighty, I haven't seen this many fucking fat people outside of a Walmart or a Golden Corral.